From dinosaurs to the modern day, groups and communities have always existed. For example, the Romans. They wouldn't be the gladiator warriors we know them to be today if it wasn't for their community. So how does fandom fit in? Why specifically do cosplayers and people in fandoms have such a relevance to today? Why is it so important to so many people? How does it shape our lives and society? Because while it may seem sudden and new to so many people, it's actually been around for a lot longer than you may think. It's just evolved. So let's dive into the history of fandom and why it means so much to so many people today. A really quick history lesson. Think back to the earliest fandom phenomenon that you can think of, before Glee, before Harry Potter, before Rocky Horror Picture Show, even before Sherlock Holmes. We can actually assume that one of the earliest recorded events of keen and joy to something was in the 15th century. This is when the printing press was invented. People loved it. People were so eager and so desperate to know what the newest story was. While this is not considered exactly as fandom activity, nor did the term even exist at the time, but it does share similarities with fan activities of today. For example, think of someone obsessed with a pop singer, constantly refreshing Instagram, desperate to know the newest news on the latest tour, album, song. That's very similar to what people in the 1400s would have felt like towards the printing press. In the 18th century, this is when people started collecting things and when we can assume the hobby of collection started. This is still very popular now, as people collect all sorts of artifacts and merchandise for their favourite interests. People also would sell things and buy things from brands. Then there was the influences of the 18th century, sort of royalty, people of high regard, which we now consider to be celebrities in today's world. In the 1800s, along came Sherlock Holmes. This is probably one of the earliest popular media pieces that is still popular to today. From when it was first released to 2023, it still has a massive cult following. However, it was not until 1926 that the word fandom was first even acknowledged, created, or people even knew what it meant. A good example is in the 1960s when the Beatles had a massive fan base. The fan base of them actually really well mirrors the music fans of the 21st century. Reporting on his experience with the Beatles back in the 60s, Andy Lothian told The Guardian in 2013, "It was absolute panodium. Girls fainting, screaming, the whole hall went into some kind of state, almost collective hypnotism. I'd never seen anything like it." And not much has really ever changed since. It really put meaning into fan being short for fanatic. Then, from the 1970s, came the rise of pop culture phenomenons, such as movies, TV shows, video games, books, and just over time that has adapted so much more. Going into the 2000s, we saw the rise of the digital age. People could meet people from all across the world with the same interests as them from the comfort of their own home. They would post memes, fanfiction, art, cosplay. That brings us up to today. So if it's lasted for this long, why do we do it? Why is it still so important? Why don't I pass over to the communities themselves to answer that question and share their stories?
Started when I was 8 in 1977 when I saw Star Wars first, and it's been an obsession part of my life since then.
My brother brought me into the fandom, and when I was like 10, he sent me a box with lightsabers. That was quite cool because when we were children back then, me and my younger brother, we were playing Jedi Knight and something like this.
I got into cosplay through Lord of the Rings back in the early 2000s. Got into those movies, really wanted to do some of the costumes, and it's just gone on from there.
As a kid, loved the films, and when the Disney had the acquisition, I started watching Star Wars Rebels, and I was like, actually, this is all right, this is good. I really enjoyed. Well, probably the only few of the adult fans my age who really enjoyed the sequel films. And it just sort of re-sparked a whole love in a whole different way, and from there just met people who felt the same.
I was doing an internship and there was a lady there and she was a cosplayer, and I was like, that actually exists in Europe. I want to do that. And then I basically started building stuff because I was a crafty kid and I'm a crafty adult now.
One of the first Star Wars cosplays I did was Rey, and I used to take my little BB-8 unit along with me, and just seeing the reaction from people and seeing how everyone reacted with each other is just like, heart is full with stuff right now.
I didn't start going to conventions like physically until 2010, because originally when I was growing up I actually thought they were only in America. I didn't realise that there was such a big scene over here. And I don't think, I was quite young at the time, so I don't think that, you know, even if there was one, I was able to kind of embrace it really.
So I've been a Star Wars fan since I can remember. Have a huge Lego Star Wars collection, and then it was really you that got me into cosplaying and come into conventions like this. So it's been nice. It's not really something I would have done without having you with me, really.
My friends were going to an event and I was like, you know what, I've come too. Oh, we need to get dressed in costume. Yeah, sure, I can do that. And then it just went out to this, and now I'm here.
So I went to my first convention in 2010. I was 20 years old, and I was at university at the time, and I really enjoyed it, and I've been hooked ever since.
Well, I guess I got inspired through other cosplayers, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that as well. I want to run around like a High Republic Jedi, yeah, for sure.
I kind of stumbled upon it one time. I've always been the sort of person who's, you know, I had a school party when I was about 12, and I was like, yeah, I can make my own costume for this. That's something I could do. So then when I found out that this is a hobby that people have, I was like, well, sign me up.
Because I dressed up for many years before I started to go to conventions. I mean, my dressing up days go back to when I was like probably 5 or even earlier, when my mum and I used to make costumes for dressing up days at school, and I've literally been obsessed with costumes since I was born, so it's not a new thing for me.
Meeting people around the same age who also like doing goofy, silly things like dressing up like this, it makes all the difference, you know. Really just fun. Great fun.
It's just fun in general. You can have fun, you can be your own person. It's just great.
I run around here all day and I can meet people and behave like I'm in character. And I love that. This is what the fandom means to me, what the community means to me. Being in this whole thing. Yeah. Yes, whoever I want to be.
It's like, I can tell you, I know very well that it's very hard being a geek in the normal world, because people don't always appreciate you for it, and you get all sorts of kind of comments. Oh my God, Jesus!
It's accessible to anyone. Absolutely everyone can get involved in Star Wars, and there's so many stories within Star Wars that it just appeals to absolutely anyone.
Yeah, there's so many characters that people sort of see themselves in, and I think over time that's just given me so much more. And I made within a short amount of time. I haven't been fan for Star Wars for like 3 years, maybe, and I met so many amazing friends and people from just Star Wars, and it's great.
Star Wars is about hope, and you guys are absolutely reflecting that.
I'm cosplaying Melody today from Pokemon 2000, which is a very special movie for me. Pokemon is a massive part of my life, very connected to the characters, and it helped me get through some difficult times.
The sign I made that for, I'm in the Amdram group, and we did something called All Together Now, which took lots of random songs from musicals, and Seize the Day was one of them. And that song got me through lockdown, getting me out of bed every day. And then I auditioned for that song and I got it, and it was the first time I got singing solo in front of an audience. So I made some like props for it and stuff. That's the one that survived. So yeah, big part of my life.
Aside from story and gaming, I do read a lot of books, and I do like to cosplay. The problem is that I cannot sew, so I always need someone who's doing that for me.
I think a really important thing is that everybody helps everybody with like materials or tips, or you should talk to that person or you should ask that person, and that's so helpful, especially when you're just starting out.
I guess it's a validation, you know, that we all are allowed to enjoy what we like to enjoy, and that there are other people out there, as I say, like having previously enjoyed it in very much a solitary kind of way, like there are other people out there who enjoy the minutiae, the tiny facts, the way that like I do, who are going to put the time in to make a costume, stuff like that, you know. Yeah, unity in community is very important, really, isn't it?
I think fandom's always been a part of my life as well. It's a good way to make friends, to have an easy way in to talking to people, I think.
Everybody can see.
If you want to be appreciated, if you want to meet people who have similar interests to you, who are equally obsessed about a series as you are, and are not going to have a go at you for it, come to conventions, come get involved, come cosplay, dress up, it's fun, you know, and don't let any nasty people get to you. If you like something, then you're meant to enjoy it. So come find the places where you can.
It's for some people it's almost like family. You know, you found your people who like the same thing as you, and I think that's what's important to them, to connect with others.
Family. We're all here for the same thing, the same reason, and we all love it. So.
Well, for some people it's kind of like escapism. Some things, it feels like you're part of a group. It's like a sense of family if you don't have certain things, and it's just an all around, well, atmosphere, so.
Yeah, it's something that brings people together, and it's like you have friends that wouldn't be friends without this, and then it brings just randoms together and creates one group. It's really nice.
Yeah, and like community and everyone can nerd out together, really.
Chat to the person next to you, know who's got something in common. It's a chance to talk about favourite characters, favourite dance numbers for theirs.
Being here today just with all the other fans and all the other cosplayers is just amazing. It's just, it's life-building moments.
Just the community that it is. It's such a wide-ranging community, and there's always so much going on.
Really strong, friendly. There's no egos here. The community is just very supportive of each other. Everyone engages. There's been some very, very positive people here. Not heard any negatives at all today, so it's been a great experience for me.
And I've never ever felt unwelcome.
Well, obviously socialising with other cosplayers, trying to meet the very little fandom that had me in class I was in, look around the stores, buying stuff. It's great.
Like, the communities are so great and fun.
Meeting the people I've met has just given me a whole new enjoyment of Star Wars. For a lot of years, it's something which I enjoyed solitary as a child, and then secretly as an adult. Very much sort of felt like it was something I shouldn't be enjoying as much as I did.
It's like a way of connecting with other people that like the same thing as you, and you're able to find like friends within it, and I think that's like a really nice thing. When I'm in fandoms, I'm there just to enjoy myself, and I'm just there to meet people that like the same thing as me and share thoughts, opinions, and just have a good time within the fandom.
So
it's a lot about the atmosphere when you're at a fan thing, and it's like going to see a normal show like on any other day is one thing, but then when there's true fans there, it's a very different atmosphere when you're seeing the show.
it's cool how to meet other people who are really big fans of it, because my friends, like, I can bring them along, but they'll be a bit like, it's nice to sort of also see everyone dressing up as well. It's really cool.
Can we just say also before we go on, your costumes are unreal. That Bedford costume is...
This is my fourth time seeing this show, but I really wanted to come show the family event, because I know a lot of people are passionate about this show, want to be part of that community. I think it's going to be a great audience to be part of.
As some of you may know, it is our family performance tonight, which means we are doing a cast Q&A after the show. So any questions you may have, you want to ask, what's your favourite costume, what's your favourite number, what's your favourite Lady Gaga song, anything you want. Very much, and we'll get
What I was saying is that I really like the fact that everyone is super supportive of each other, so no matter who they are, or if they know them or if they don't, if they're part of the same group, everyone just really is so encouraging and clapping everybody along. And haven't really come across that before, because I think the other groups that we've got involved in through sort of some of the other things that you've done, like the horse riding and the sort of baton twirling and everything, people do sort of like go, but it's kind of like a bit, yeah, well done, instead of whoa, 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 well done kind of thing, you know. So yeah, just whole different level of supportiveness. I think it's a really nice place to be involved in.
The money. It's expensive. Sometimes, not so much on the cosplay, but there are some really kind of negative people in the Star Wars fandom, but they tend to get drowned out, so they're the only issue that a lot of people have, is they just pull everyone down.
There are areas in the fandom which are quite toxic, but I think it's just a loud voice, so small amount of people but big voice, but we like to drown them out as much as we can.
To be honest, it's also a bit of a health risk. I almost fainted on Friday because I was committed to just stay in armor the whole day. It was not fun.
The only downside really that I think is in this area it's quite small. So there's not a huge lot of other cosplayers that are doing this fandom at the moment. Downsides is like loads of people can be like ships or like characters. They can make it a bit too like crazy and people can be too judgmental.
I think there's always a toxic part about fandoms. There's always those people that criticize it, like, oh, if you don't like this, for example, character, then like, oh, blah blah blah, or there's always these people who like overanalyze it, and even if you're in that fandom just for like enjoyment reasons, there's always like people who are like almost making it like an piece of art, whereas a lot of the times it's just like you're in there just to have fun.
Of course, if something happens that you don't like when it comes to the movies or to the series, it's of course something that hits you, then you might sometimes lose a little bit of interest, which has happened a lot recently, but then things like The Mandalorian happen and everything's fine again.
Well, unfortunately every community has a negative side to it. I mean, I think there unfortunately has been bullying, well there is bullying that goes on in this community. I mean, not so much now, luckily. I think there's been a lot more control over it, but we have had instances in the past where people who very sadly have been bullied online because of their costumes. Like there's been a website called 4chan where people actually post some very hurtful comments about people's costumes, which is very worrying, because obviously if you go to an event, the last thing you want to feel, especially if you're not necessarily experienced cosplayer and you haven't got many skills, like it takes a long time to master the craft. It's quite hard skills that you're learning here. I mean, I'm a fashion student right now, and even now it's like learning as part of my diploma. It's hard work.
What can you say to someone who wants to get into cosplay?
Do it!
Do it.
Just start, and it doesn't matter if it's made out of cardboard or whatever, just start and go on from there. You learn your skills eventually.
Be careful, start easy, but it will take over your life.
Beware, it's expensive.
Just start. I mean, pick a favourite character, pick an outfit that you like and think, okay, yeah, that's something I can see myself in. It doesn't have to be something that's recognisable, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't matter if no one knows who you are or it's not sort of off the rack. I mean, I've been doing it for years and it's sort of advanced, but I've had friends who've just started and you don't have to make your own outfits.
If you can look for charity shops, like stuff like this is wonderful for that. Amazon's great. If you find something that you think will be something to do with it, buy it. For certain things there's certain things that you need to look for, but for something like this, it's literally chuck on whatever you can, mismatch if you want to. It doesn't really matter. It's all kind of a free-for-all in this sort of thing. So
it's not very difficult. Like with this, just check shirt and jeans. Like some things you don't need to go full cosplay and get like a costume and that. This is just out of my wardrobe, so it can just be stuff that you'd wear on a normal day, but put them together and it makes a cosplay.
Charity shops, and I mean most of this already owns just happens to work together.
I just say just joining cosplay or kind of being part of conventions or worried about it, please do get involved. Please do come, especially if you've had a series, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever you really like, even Strange Things or new things like Squid Game, for example. You know, if you love all that stuff, come to a convention.
Just don't be intimidated by all the other people. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You will get there, ask them for help, they're nice. So just start somewhere, have fun with it.
While I love the detail and stuff in the costume, I do think there are some people, maybe not even purposefully, who maybe be a little bit elitist, you know, or you haven't got the right shoes, or the hoses are wrong, or stuff like that, you know. It sounds silly, but there will be some people who are so focused in on detail that, you know, sometimes unsolicited advice and things like that.
People, if you're there is a small bunch of people like, oh, you're not accurate enough because that's not right. Yeah, I just ignore those people. There are always those very nitpicky, it's technically not canon. Whatever.
The last thing you want to do when you just want to go to a convention, have fun, to really celebrate something that's special to you, is to be bullied about it online. So, but the thing is, what we have to remember, unfortunately, in this world, every community has its bad eggs, every community has its downsides, and there are just unfortunately very nasty people out there. But it's important to just not let that get to you, to keep going, to just completely ignore it, to completely always remember that it's their problem, not yours, and just don't stand for it, you know. It's not okay to bully someone.
Not getting so conscious about being the exact costume from a specific episode or film. Like, so many characters change their costume throughout. You can pick bits between, it's fine. Just dress however you want to, it's absolutely fine.
Sometimes it might be a little bit isolating when someone's just having a go and trying to enjoy themselves. No one turns up with the greatest costume to start with. You know, we're all building as we go.
I always tell people, don't be scared, don't be intimidated by the big cosplayers, because you don't know their budgets, you don't know their skill level, you don't know what they do as a job. Everybody started somewhere, and if that somewhere is your mom's old curtains or bed sheets, that's fine as well. I mean, try it out, see if you like it, and grow into it.
Sometimes, like, that can really put people off. And I was really lucky that the first people I met doing this, because I didn't start till 2021, were really lovely, inclusive people, you know.
A lot of people get pent up about being perfect with their costume and having the perfect body for their costume. It really doesn't matter. I wish I was a bit more muscly, a bit thinner, but I'm not. But I still wanted to do this, and that's absolutely fine.
My first costume was a simple dress and wings are made out of pencils and duct tape. That's how I started.
I cut like a turtleneck and stuck loads of rhinestones on these little shapes.
Keep going, keep cosplaying, keep going to the conventions to share something that's important to you, because it's special to you. You don't want someone to say that way for you.
It's about having fun, I think. Rather, you know, don't take it too seriously. Just, yeah, enjoy it.
The only limit to your imagination.
There's not much for me to say that hasn't already been said, but 100% is about escapism and finding your people. I have met so many amazing friends that I would not have met without being in these fandoms, and I can't imagine my life being any differently. It's kind of crazy to me that my life would be so different if I wasn't in the communities that I'm in. Life just gets so much better when you find the people that will accept you and you can be yourself with, really, and I think that's really important. Come find your people, I promise it's worth it.